Bruh, the sea golly, yeah, the one straight out of the Bible, just turned red and nobody knows why. Now, what they're saying is, this is just from the algae, something out of the 10 plagues. Am I tripping? Don't it look like that?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, anything weird, unusual, unexplained, you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank all the seekers, man, who's watching the videos entirely, commented down below. Really appreciate the support. Find this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Watermelon should not be breathing. They're literally feeding us anything.
Watch this, y'all.
They should not be doing that.
Wait, is that it making a noise?
Should not be moving like that.
Something inside that water bottle, bro.
They are literally trying to get rid of us, and the evidence is in the food. Stay weird.
Let me tell you about some interesting things I learned today. When you get electrocuted, it's not the electricity that throws you across the room, it's just the force of your muscles contracting, which means that we are strong enough to instantly throw ourselves across the room. There was a man who sued Pepsi after finding a mouse in his Mountain Dew. The worst part of this is the attorneys claimed that the Mountain Dew would dissolve a mouse in 30 days, and they showed proof that the Mountain Dew was purchased almost 90 days after it was manufactured. I don't know how to feel about that. Apparently in a 5-digit zip code, the first number is your national area, the second number is your state, the third number is your sectional center or PO, the fourth and fifth numbers are small post offices or zones. I didn't realize there was that much of a structure to it, to be honest. This is a magnified photo of human skin after it's poked by a needle. I already hate needles, so this just doesn't make it better. About 95% of all spiders in our homes either were born in our homes or adapted to life in our homes, and if you take the spider outside, they will likely not survive. That's kind of sad, but also just don't show yourself in my house and you'll be safe. The word stress is just desserts spelled backwards. Those two things being related checks out.
Bruh, the sea golly, yeah, the one straight out of the Bible, just turned red and nobody knows why. Now, what they're saying is, this is just from the algae. But I don't think so, y'all. This should look like something out of the 10 plagues. Am I tripping? Don't it look like that? That shit look crazy, fool. They said this shit went from blue to red overnight. Now, you tell me, how does something go from blue to red that quick, like in an instant? Boom. You already know, you got the scientists saying, look, y'all, this is nothing to be worried about, nothing to be alarmed about. But when they say that, I feel like that's when you should be alarmed or worried. Well, I know when they tell us everything's gonna be fine, that's when you should start worrying. This shit look like the Now, the stories your grandma used to tell you and shit. Y'all remember them stories? Them Jones that used to have you nervous? And with everything going on in that part of the world right now, this shit just feels too planned. It feels too perfect. That shit is crazy. Maybe it's nature, or maybe it's just a sign, or maybe it's just a sign we're not ready to see.
It hurts my...
Is that nature? Or is it something else, man? Some weird things happening in the world.
My brain. 8 babies have just been born in the UK from 3 parents. And to make your brain hurt too, it's from 2 mothers. But what's even cooler than being able to be more progressive than your most blue-haired friend is that having 3 parents can prevent several life-threatening hereditary conditions. In fact, it's kind of the whole point. Scientists in Newcastle combined DNA from 3 people. The egg from a mother, the sperm from a father, and then a second egg from, I guess, the other mother. And what this method does is that it allows mitochondria, which may carry genetic disorders from the original parents, to be replaced with healthy mitochondria from the donor, aka your other mother. And while this science, known as 3-person IVF, isn't necessarily new, this is the first time we've seen a successful birth of babies from this method in the UK. And I'm glad to report the 8 newborn children are healthy and showing no signs of mitochondrial disease. And don't worry, they're not gonna have to grow up explaining to their friends what a throuple is, because more than 99.9% of the child's DNA comes from their two parents, and only a tiny fraction coming from the donor. Still pretty damn cool though.
I've been seeing a lot of talk about
Weird.
Hurricane Katrina lately, and that's great. I'm glad that we're finally talking about what actually happened there. But something that I never hear anyone mention when talking about Katrina is this guy right here, because he is a true hero that never gets recognition. It had been 2 days since Hurricane Katrina had devastated the city of New Orleans. The amount of people that were in need of rescue after the hurricane hit was astronomical. As we know, the Superdome was being opened up as a shelter for displaced residents, but they actually had such an overflow of people that now had no homes to return to that the Astrodome, all the way in Houston, Texas, began opening its doors to house people. As you may have already heard in documentaries about Katrina, helicopters and boats, all of the recovery efforts in the first few days of flooding were going right on past the predominantly black neighborhoods in New Orleans. People were stuck sleeping on their roofs and in their attics with no food, no water, no electricity, with their children in tow and all. And most of them had no option. They relied on public transportation and didn't have a vehicle to leave even if they wanted to evacuate. So this man, 20-year-old Jabbar Gibson, began to formulate a plan to get out. He had been stuck inside of his complex for 2 days with no food or water and began to hear reports that neighboring areas were being swallowed whole by floodwaters. He went searching for a way out and came across a barn with a bunch of abandoned school buses inside. Now, Jabbar didn't even have his license to drive, but he knew what he needed to do. So he drove the Orleans Parish school bus back to his complex and loaded up as many people as possible onto it. What's crazy is that even though he was doing the right thing, police still showed up, made everyone get off the bus, and told Jabbar to hand over the keys. Thankfully, Jabbar's mother was able to convince officers that now is not the right time. Don't you guys have better things to be doing? And from there, Jabbar transported 70 people, 13 hours to the Houston Astrodome, and his bus was the first to arrive.
He was giving a
Legend.
lecture to his class when this happens. A college professor from Argentina was preparing to give his new class a lecture. But while he was recording a video, he noticed something strange happening in the background.
Hola, ¿cómo les va? Hoy vamos a hablar de niveles de conocimiento. ¿Bien? Hay 4 niveles de conocimiento. El primer nivel es la ignorancia, el segundo nivel es la estupidez, el tercer nivel es la inteligencia y el cuarto nivel es la sabiduría. ¿En qué se diferencia cada uno de estos 4 niveles? Vamos a charlar ahora para después cada uno de nosotros ver en qué nivel estamos.
Turn back at him?
El primer nivel es el nivel de la ignorancia. En este nivel, la persona no tiene los recursos necesarios para lidiar con el desafío que se le propone.
As he's recording, his reflection in the background turns around and stares into the camera, as if it has a mind of its own. The professor explains he doesn't believe in the paranormal, but he has no way of explaining what he just captured on video. Tell me what you think.
I am
Edit,
obsessed.
could be.
Oh my goodness. Did you know that whenever they had the little alien from Men in Black that's in the head, it is actually this big? Like, yeah, sure, that's kind of creepy and all, but like, I'm obsessed with Men in Black, one of my favorite movies of all time, and I never knew this. Like, they had a small version for like the far away shots and everything, but then they had the big version because, you know, they had to actually make the alien articulate, and it's an animatronic. There's a video at the end if you want to check that out. Here's what it looks like in the actual movie. You can see like the face is taken off and then little alien bro is in there, which by the way, that face is a mood. Like, bro is done with life. They named this little alien Chucky, like they named the animatronic Chucky, and it's just so freaking cute. I'm obsessed with aliens. I don't know why. I've just always been obsessed with them. I had a little doll named Blix that I carried around as a child, and that was like my alien baby doll. And like, they couldn't make the actual mouth lip sync the words when it was like small because it was like the size of a pencil. Like, so they had to have it big to actually make the alien, you know, look like it's actual moving its facial features. Watch this video and let me know what you're thinking. The first one is going to be the one that's small and you'll see the difference. And then the second one is the big one. This is so cool.
I never knew that. Men in Black, man. That's dedication to the craft, bro. Nowadays, you know, it would have just been CG.
So that thunderstorm that just happened in Nebraska, there's no way you can convince me that this right here is not no galactical war. Then they talking about we supposed to be having aliens supposed to be here in 2 weeks, and we having storms like this?
You guys, this is not time-lapse, you know, manipulated video. This is actually live right now. The camera every once in a while moving around too, but that is a lot of lightning.
So you gonna tell me that this is not some kind of spiritual war that's going on right now? Like Darth Vader and Master Yoda is not having a bump down session. It's either that or the sky is literally malfunctioning. Never in my 20 years have I seen this much thunder in one storm. And then a few hours later, that same storm flooded Milwaukee.
Whoa.
There's nothing nobody can tell me that could convince me that that was not some type of war that was going on. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts of what y'all think about this crazy storm in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. Y'all think this was some type of spiritual war? A crazy storm? Or the Matrix glitching? I don't know, but things getting strange.
There's a theory that Garth Brooks isn't just a country legend, but he's a serial killer secretly hiding in plain sight. This all started when comedian Tom Segura started pointing out something strange. A disturbing amount of people have gone missing in cities where Garth Brooks was touring. Like, way too many for it to be a coincidence. We are talking decades of overlapping timelines. Missing person cases tied to his tour stops from the early 90s all the way into the Now, years later, after all of this, Garth is still involved in this ongoing legal case with a woman who accused him of doing terrible things to her. The case is still open, and it was life-threatening towards her. Some people believe that these deaths were occurring because they were part of a ritual, a way to stay famous, to stay powerful, to stay untouchable. And we hear about that a lot with the Hollywood elite, you know, the conspiracy theories around it. I'm not saying any of it's true. This is just for entertainment purposes. It's fun to talk about. But people can't help but notice, as long as people keep disappearing in the town he's playing when he's playing there, Garth keeps selling out stadiums. Let me know what you believe and follow for more.
What do you think, Seekers?
2025. You know, these guys have successfully predicted quite a lot of ridiculous things, and there's some crazy ones for 2025 you probably don't even want to know, to be honest with you. There was this prediction years and years ago about an iron dome over America, and now recently it is pretty much definitely happening, known as the Golden Dome. It's been speculated a lot that AI is going to take over and robots, but apparently they predicted it would happen in 2025 and 2026. With AI systems and chatbots getting so advanced that they will take over, give false information, and basically ruin the world, which, yeah, kind of see that happening. There was apparently an episode that broadcast in the early 2000s showing a Trump 2024 sign and also showing that he won that year, although I'm not sure about that one, I can find that officially. The Simpsons movie from 2007 predicted that there would be an economical crisis in 2025 and also a natural disaster. You know what's been going on in the economy recently, and we also had this last week, which was insane.
Matching
but
up.
By far the scariest bit is the ones that haven't come true yet, such as a zombie apocalypse coming out of China, apparently. Mate, please no.
What do you guys think, man, about those Simpson theories, man? Because, like I said, when it comes to the Simpsons, bro, they be calling it in some earlier episodes. I don't know how they can do that prediction like that, but they be on the money, so we always got to pay attention to that, man.
Some of the creepiest videos on the internet, part 10. The popular American rapper XXXTentacion was murdered on June 18th, 2018, and his death broke the hearts of many. Many people visited his memorial to leave gifts, but some people captured much more. The YouTube channel The Fam recorded a video trying to communicate with this beloved rapper, but accidentally captured this. But someone else got a lot more than this. The YouTube channel Selva the Explorer got to speak with him through her spirit box. Here's some things he had to say.
What is your favorite song that you ever recorded? What's the name of your favorite song? Are you in the white bike? Is there anything else you want to tell us?
Every year, every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not.
That was just hard to watch. I mean, it's incredibly obvious that Pam Bondi was caught in a lie right there, and she really didn't know how to react. I mean, she even deflected to her buddy Trump, looked over at him, not knowing exactly what to say to respond to that reporter's question. And if you look at the comment section on social media platforms where that video was posted, there are tons of individuals who work with security cameras all the time commenting that what she said is just not true. Now, I already said days ago that I don't even believe the footage, regardless of the minute missing. I think that might be some sort of a distraction. We're talking about the United States government. Just think of how advanced their CGI or AI capabilities are. I mean, it would take no effort to edit an old, grainy clip of a hallway and cut somebody or something out of it. But I want you to think of it a little bit differently. Even if Epstein, that's something that I don't really see people talking about too often. And I can't believe that anybody thought that this clown would ever tell the truth while in office.
It's about Nickelodeon. What? The main guy was kind of weird, and he did weird stuff, but a lot of people wouldn't notice. Yeah. So the green slime. Every award show, the winners would get poured slime on them. Yeah, that's like a big thing. This is not my theory. This is their theory. They made it the green screen green, so they can make it change the color. Another color, and guess what color that would be on all your favorite kid artists. Dog, that's actually crazy. And the crazy thing is, I'm like, yo, this Loki might not even be a reach. All the backstory that I know about the Nickelodeon guy, he was very like...
Come on! Give up the juice!
What's she doing?
Oh, yeah. Check this out! Yes! 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 No, I don't want to see that thing again. Put it away!
You do it way more gentle than my mom does it.
That is so not tight, but it hurts!
I heard you swallow.
You're holding your banana backwards! Is it my turn to squat?
Dan Schneider's
Damn,
like, yo, they could have made it orange. Why isn't it orange? That's Nickelodeon's main color.
Yeah, you're right though.
And it's green screen green. It's not no like regular Minecraft green. It's
Yeah,
like,
when they had the award shows, that's when they started making it.
when they started.
That's crazy.
Damn.
That's dirt though. That's
Dirty, fam.
That's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
messed up in the head, fam.
Super.
Why do you think? Are they just sick like that?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, bruh.
Bacon avocado.
We know, man, when that's like when he got exposed, bro. So, man, when you a kid, you just don't pick up on that. I didn't even think about that until now. And that's green. Yeah, you could change that color into anything, the edits. So I'm like, why was it that color? Why was it green? All those scenes of Victorious Not Carly, didn't pick up on until now. So.
The government's been secretly building an underground city using $21 trillion of taxpayer money, built from 1998 until 2015, as revealed by former Bush official Catherine Austin Fitts, who admitted they've constructed a luxury city under the United States to shelter the elite and powerful in case of a mass extinction event. It's also being used for secret government projects and space technology programs. Parts of the city are even beneath the ocean and are complete with schools, hospitals, and jails, as well as state-of-the-art advanced transportation networks, likely powered by secret military energy systems like UAP technology. There are at least 170 of these underground facilities under U.S. soil, but she suspects there are many more around the world, funded by unsupported adjustments in the U.S. Army spending budget, which were secretly funneled into this project, which can actually be confirmed by a 2017 report by economist Mark Skidmore that found $21 trillion in unauthorized government spending. Kinda sounds like they know something that we don't, but on sourdough is pretty good.
This might make you think twice before opening the door for strangers. The owner of this home was murdered after allowing these two men dressed up as DTE workers enter his home. Carlos Hernandez and Joshua Zazo knocked on the 72-year-old couple's door in Rochester Hills and did the unthinkable. And it was all caught on camera when on the night of October 10th, Carlos is seen ringing the doorbell of the couple's home and telling them that he was a worker from DTE and was there to check a gas leak. The 72-year-old homeowner Hussein Murray told them to come back tomorrow because it was already too late. And that's exactly what these two men did. However, when they arrived the next morning, they took his life. Hussein led the two men to the basement where the furnace was, and that's when they attacked him and took his life. Hussein's wife Linda was upstairs when all of this was going on, and she said she didn't hear anything. When the two men went back upstairs after 10 to 15 minutes, minutes, she asked them, "Where's my husband?" And that's when they beat her and tied her wrists and ankles together. Hussein and his wife had a pretty well-known jewelry store in the city, and it seems like these two men targeted them because of that. And it turns out that they didn't even steal anything, because when they asked Linda where the money and jewelry was, she told them that they didn't keep it in the house. The two men were eventually caught and were charged with Hussein Murray's murder.
Be careful out there.
Mississippi shot a woman because she refused to have sex with him. Now, this is a direct quote from the prosecutors. It said the 70-year-old man shot the woman in the leg after she refused to get naked and have sex with him. Now, he was home with his son. His son tried to disarm the father. However, the guy shot at his son too. Thankfully, the woman lived, and thankfully, the son didn't die from his father shooting at him. How down bad do you have to be to shoot at a woman and then your son right after that, just because the woman doesn't want to do it with you? That's crazy. Now, he got sentenced to 30 years in prison. At this age, it's basically a life sentence. You know, he's going to spend his life behind bars, probably die in jail. Now, I saw this post on Facebook, and Facebook is a wild place because all the comments were saying how this guy is going to have a lot of what he was looking for in jail. The police said they took this crime very, very seriously because it was such a violent crime. You know, like he held a woman at gunpoint and then shot at his son when the son tried to help the woman. He tried to disarm his father too in the process. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys.
This aunt sued her nephew after they won the $1.2 million jackpot. Barb and Tyrone both had their names on the winning ticket, so they split the $1.2 million right in half. Barb said that although Tyrone bought the ticket for her, she never told him that she would split the jackpot with him. She then took Tyrone to court where she was rewarded $850,000, and Tyrone took the remaining $350,000. What do you guys think? Is this fair? Here's the
Would you take your own family to court over a lottery ticket, man? Did it really have to go that far? Y'all family, I couldn't work something out that had to be done in court. Man, money will drive a wedge between anybody, bro.
3 most illegal dog breeds, and trust me, you're gonna be shocked. The American Pit Bull Terrier is said to be one of the most masculine dogs, and they're known for always winning fights. They're now illegal to own in Canada, in Florida, and a bunch of other countries across the globe. The Japanese Tosa Inu is known to fight silently, meaning that when it's in combat, it doesn't even bark. It is now illegal to own in Denmark, Malta, and Norway. And finally, the Neapolitan Mastiff. This dog was actually used as a gladiator dog in the Roman Colosseum, and it's now illegal to own in the country of Singapore. Now let me know, would you want one of these dogs?
Male T-App just had a massive data breach. So this app called T on Her was a rival app to the T-App that was meant for men to talk about women. Now this app had you show your ID or selfie to show that you were indeed a male, and that was how you were accepted onto the app. Well, as it turns out, the T on Her app had the same exact security flaw as the original T app, and now everybody's data on there has been leaked. At the time of this breach, the T on Her app had over 50,000 users, so if you happen to be one of those, then your data was breached.
I want to ask the question, what do you think is the fastest man-made object ever made in history?
A bullet.
I'll guess a satellite. So, this is gonna blow your mind. Okay. So, the fastest man-made object in the world, and it's also the first man-made object to ever enter space. We sent something to space before Sputnik. Is something that we've made that goes 150,000 miles per hour. But I guarantee you've never heard of it because it's a manhole cover.
What?
Huh? A sewer manhole cover is the fastest man-made object to ever exist, and it's circling around in space, and here's how it happened. So in 1957, they're doing a ton of nuclear testing, right? And they did one where they dug this tunnel that was 3 feet wide and about 400 feet deep, right? So they're gonna blow this nuclear bomb. But on top of this tube, they have just a manhole cover. That's shot into space? This thing shoots up into space at 150,000 miles per hour and is still to this day circling in space somewhere. It's the fastest man-made object that ever exists.
Legend says it's just past Saturn.
Yeah, for real.
I think young people need to drink more. I don't see drunkenness, I see togetherness.
Drink more alcohol.
Yeah, drink more. I think they need to get out and drink more. My advice to young people is to go out and drink more and make a series of bad decisions that might pay off. I think that we need more togetherness, more people, more sex, and more random encounters. And absolutely, people need to be in the company of strangers more and more. And I think young men are sequestering. We're turning into a different species of socially isolated, lonely people who become shitty citizens. And when Women don't have a romantic relationship, they reinvest in work and their friends. When men don't have a relationship, they tend to just go down a rabbit hole.
Well, if you're a stalker and you like to stalk other people's pages, you are not gonna like this. Instagram just did an update, and on their update, they added a map feature. You heard what I said, a map feature. Here, take a look at it. Read it for yourself. A new map feature allowing you to track and share locations with others, which basically means if you like to stalk people's pages or you're having some kind of internet thing with someone you're not supposed to, you're about to get caught. Here's just an example of what I'm talking about. You see right above right there under the map, nearby. It shows you exactly where people are so you can kind of communicate with those in your circle or in your neighborhood. Here's just another example of what I'm talking about.
It's dangerous.
For example, all these little dots on the map are either people that I'm following or people that are following me. And when they post, it shows their exact location. Hence the part where I said, some people on this app are now going to get themselves in a lot of trouble. So my suggestion to all is just turn the feature off, because this gets even more crazier, because if you actually zoom in really close on the person's image, it gives you the pinpoint exact location as to where they are. So I guess my question to you is, will you be turning it off, or will you be snooping around to see if people say they are where they are when they tell you they're going to be going someplace? Or are you just going to turn it off and just continue to use the app the way you have been? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always,
People Who Are 1 in a Million, Part 2. This is Gary Turner, but he's better known as the Elastic Man. He has a medical condition that causes his skin to be so stretchy that he can stretch the skin from his neck over his mouth. Next is Nanya Su, who's a boy with perfect night vision. His parents both have brown eyes, but he has blue eyes that glow when a light is shined. He claims that it's hard to see during the day, but while everyone sees this at night, this is what he sees. This is Paul Carrison, the real-life Papa Smurf. To fix his skin condition, he would drink silver and rub it on his skin every day, causing him to turn irreversibly blue. Finally, this man came into the hospital with severe chest pain, and doctors were shocked when they discovered he had 2 hearts, and he had suffered a double heart attack.
This truck driver took the life of 5 people because he was distracted on TikTok. The morning of January 12, 2023, 36-year-old Danny Tyner was driving on Interstate 10 in Arizona when he drove his tractor trailer in to stop the traffic. This scene is so difficult to look at, but basically his truck sandwiched 2 other cars with another big truck at the front. These are the 5 victims that lost their lives on that day, and when Danny was asked what happened, he said that he looked down for a couple of seconds because he got a notification on his work tablet, and when he looked back up, there was not enough time to brake. But that wasn't true. When his phone was analyzed, it showed that he was actively using TikTok when the crash happened. Now, what I found disturbing was that during his interaction with police, he didn't seem too fazed. He was eventually charged with manslaughter and was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for each count of negligent homicide, which totaled to 22.5 years.
This is the tragedy.
Man, I'm telling you guys, when you out driving, man, just do not be informed, man. Like I said, social media is a distraction, man. That's basically what it was made for. So why would you even attempt to even like look at it while you're driving, bro? That's just doesn't make sense to me. Look at the result of what happened, man. Multiple senses, man, because you just wanted to scroll on TikTok, man. TikTok cannot be, well, we know it's that addicting, man, where you just want to keep scrolling and scrolling, but you drive and you don't have that luxury.
Tragic story of the Boy Scout who made his entire neighborhood radioactive. Nicknamed the Nuclear Boy Scout, David Hahn was a teenager from Michigan who was obsessed with nuclear radiation. When he was only 15, David attempted to build a nuclear reactor in his backyard shed, using radioactive material from household items including vintage clocks, smoke detectors, and gun sights. Within 2 years, David had built a functioning reactor which gave off enough radiation to be detected throughout his entire neighborhood.
Damn.
David was soon caught by police when they found hazardous materials in his car during a routine stop and thought he was building an atomic bomb. When David's shed was raided by the EPA, they determined that his project had created dangerous levels of radiation, leading them to dismantle the building and classify it as hazardous waste. This mugshot from 2006 shows David covered in sores as a result of his extensive exposure to radiation. This, combined with continuous legal and mental health issues, led to David's early passing at the age of 39 from an accidental overdose.
Wanted to become like Adam Man or something.
Superpowers Part 2. The super coffee drinker BDNF. Carriers of this gene remain completely unaffected to the effects of caffeine from coffee, and can often easily get a night's sleep after drinking a cup. The perfect memory gene, HSAM. If you are lucky enough to be born with this gene, you will have almost a perfect memory. However, it's extremely rare with only 25 confirmed cases. The super sprinter gene, ACTN3. People with these genes are able to run extra fast, as these genetics give your muscles a higher flexing rate, which gives them more explosive power.
Speed
the
got
alcohol
that.
immunity gene, ALDH2. Having this super rare gene will mean you will never be able to experience being drunk with your friends, and you might have a lot of explaining to do, as it gives you total immunity from the effects of being drunk.
Imagine if everybody had that, the world would be a safer place, man. Everybody's immune to alcohol. Whew. And the speed definitely got the freaking sprinter gene, bro. I know what I'm talking about. He's too fast. That's the only explanation.
This is how rare your body is compared to the rest of the world. Only 10% of people have something called Darwin's tubercle. It's this little bump on the outside of your ear. And it's said that people who have this are better at sensing voice tonality. 10% of people also have what's called Morton's toe. This is where your big toe is shorter than the toe next to it. Only 26% of people have a narrator inside their head. Most people don't hear a voice when they think. What's even more rare is only 5% of people have their tongues tied to their mouth. I thought everyone had this. Everyone flares their nostrils subconsciously, but only 30% of people can do it on command. Less than 1% of people have unbreakable bones, making you basically superhuman. Only about 35% of people can gleek, and only 1% can do it on command. And gleeking is when you squirt saliva from underneath your tongue.
Any secretary, can you guys gleek, bro? I've seen that before. I've always wanted to know what that was, man. I finally got an answer. It's called gleeking, bro. Shoot saliva through your tongue. That's a very, I guess, rare skill set. We got any gleekers, man, in the comments? Oh, that's insane, bro.
This incident has made people on the internet so upset because this woman went up to a teen and pulled down her skirt because she thought it was too short. Even if you think this skirt is too short, I think we can all agree that you cannot go up to a child and touch them. The teen said that this woman approached her from behind and basically put her hand in her area. This woman, who is a 49-year-old Ida Lorenzo, said to the girl and her friends, "I happen to work for the state, and if I have to see your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS."
I happen to work for the state, and if I have to watch your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS.
Now, let's be real for a second. If this was a man who did this to a young girl, police would be called immediately and there would be no excuses. They were waiting at a restaurant to be seated and she basically felt like it was inappropriate for this young girl to be dressed like this in front of everyone. Which, if you feel that way, then you can leave. You should never be putting your hands on anyone. She was eventually charged with sexual battery, which I'm glad, because you can't be putting your hands on anyone, especially kids.
People who are 1 in a million.
Explained it
This girl's
perfectly.
name is Zhang Rufang, and she is over 100 years old. But a few years ago, something strange happened. She started growing a horn on her head. At first, it started off small, but now it's grown up to 6 centimeters in length. But the craziest part is, she's actually starting to grow a second horn on the other side. And doctors have offered to remove it from her head, but she refuses. Before I show you the craziest one, I just found a way you can find your celebrity lookalike, and apparently I look like Mr. Beast. If you want to know who your celebrity lookalike is, just press this link in the comments. Next up is Nong Yasoi, and he has perfect night vision. And the strange part about this is both his parents have brown eyes, but he has blue eyes. When everyone else sees darkness, he sees perfectly in the middle of the night.
The rarest things found on Earth. This
is a red diamond, and it is one of the rarest material known to man. Because of that, they are way more expensive than normal diamonds. This tiny one is worth around $25 million.
Damn.
And this is a corpse flower. It's basically a giant flower that smells like rotting flesh, and it can only be found in remote areas in Indonesia. Imagine having one of these in your garden. And this small and beautiful sea creature is a blue dragon. It's only a few inches big, but it eats deadly jellyfish every day for food.
The more you know. I want that freaking red diamond.
A Russian scientist
find
injected himself with this ancient bacteria to see what would happen. Dr. Anatoly Brushkov discovered bacteria deep within the permafrost of Siberia that was 3.5 million years old, and somehow it was still alive. It was named Bacillus F, and after doing some experiments on it, he realized the bacteria not only seemed to be immune to aging, but also appeared to have a life-extending effect on almost every organism it touched. He tested the strain on female mice, who were able to continue reproducing into old age, much older than the average mice could, and when he exposed it to crops, they grew faster and were more frost resistant. The town of Yakut, Siberia, close to where this bacteria was found, also happens to be one of the coldest human settlements on Earth, with their population reporting longer lifespans than average humans, perhaps due to Bacillus F leaking into their water supply. Dr. Brushkov was so convinced he said "F it" and injected himself with the ancient bacterium to test it out firsthand. 2 years later, he reported dramatic improvements to his general health, claiming to need less sleep, working longer hours, and just having more energy in his day-to-day life. He also allegedly hasn't gotten sick since he injected himself with it, with him and his colleagues starting to call it the elixir of life. Dr. Brushkov did this in 2013 and claims to be in the best health of his life today. And I'm sure Big Pharma loves the idea of a miracle life potion that would potentially lose them billions of dollars a year in revenue, so we definitely should not question any articles that debunk this find. To be fair, these effects aren't exactly 100% confirmed and could very well be a placebo effect, but that sure didn't stop others from hopping on the Bacillus F bandwagon. German actress Manouche began self-medicating the bacteria and reported being able to go for longer runs, feeling less cold in the winter, and her skin just feeling softer and younger. Brushkov and his team insist the effects of Bacillus F are clear and significant, although they admit they're not yet sure why it has the effect it does. But if they can manage to isolate the gene responsible for the positive benefits of the bacteria, they may have just discovered the ultimate elixir of life. As long as there isn't, you know, a whole ass industry with infinite money that tries to stop it.
The elixir of life. I gotta believe that, man. Like I said, it could be a placebo effect, but I mean, if you can inject yourself with like a million years old bacteria, you have to be pretty sure to do that. I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. Go down that rabbit hole.
Toys Ever, Part 51. Mr. Bucket, released in 1990, discontinued twice, and brought back. But what was the problem? Well, the shape of the mouth didn't help. But the only thing they actually changed were the words in the jingle. A certain part they decided to cut out.
I'm Mr. Bucket. I'm Mr. Bucket. Commercials in my top. I'm Mr. Bucket. Out of my mouth, my mouth, I'm Mr.
Extinct animals, scientists are close to reviving. Firstly, the woolly mammoth. It was believed to have gone extinct 25,000 years ago, but scientists discovered hundreds that just died recently. So they're planning to put its DNA inside African elephants, and they expect to bring them back in the next 5 years. Next, dodo birds were hunted to extinction 400 years ago, but a preserved head was recently discovered. By mixing that DNA with a maned pigeon, dodo birds should be coming back in 15 years. Finally, expect to see saber-toothed tigers outside soon, because scientists discovered DNA preserved in tar pits, and they plan to combine it with African lions. So this 10-inch toothed beast should be coming back in 10 years.
That's throwing off the environment, man. They shouldn't be doing that.
Never slice tomatoes this way. So when this guy noticed that his boss was slicing tomatoes one by one, wasting a lot of time, he decided to show him a trick that everyone should know. He took a plate, put a few tomatoes on it, covered them with another plate, and in one move, he sliced more tomatoes than his boss in an hour.
Have you ever seen
That's
a Mickey
insane,
Mouse
man.
gas mask? These were made to calm terrified children. About a month after Pearl Harbor, Walt Disney was in Washington, D.C. to design and discuss Mickey Mouse gas masks for children. 1,000 of these were produced and given away to key members of Congress to help support the project. At the time, President Roosevelt even received one. Walt Disney also came up with drawing designs for Pluto and Three Little Pigs gas masks, although these ones never reached production. They attempted to keep the fun element in something as grim as gas raids. During these raids, children would be persuaded to regard the whole thing as a game.
That's crazy, man. A freaking Mickey Mouse gas mask? Makes you wonder, man, what other freaking, I guess, companies and stuff made things in that time, but like I said, there was only 1,000 of them, so obviously it was a limited number. That's just a dark time, man, in history. Kids had to think it was a game.
Curtain number 1 is... Wait.
That's an edit.
You don't remember what she looks like?
You call them out.
Here are the craziest things to ever happen at Walmart. So one day, an 18-year-old was craving milk. So he decided to steal not 1, not 2, but 26 gallons of milk from Walmart. Oh, and he did this dressed as a cow. And if that doesn't sound weird enough to you, you'd be surprised to learn that even though he made himself stand out in the cow costume, he managed to not get caught on the spot. Next, on Black Friday in 2013, a customer and his son were freaking out in Walmart because they thought that his ex-wife was possessed by a demon. And so they locked her in their car and set up an exorcism in the parking lot by throwing sacred oil at her, which might have been the reason why they ended up divorcing. Also, back in 2013, a 16-year-old was going into labor, and she gave birth in a Cannon City Walmart bathroom. Now, there was panic for a moment because the baby wasn't breathing, but luckily, one of the store's employees were CPR certified and they revived the baby. I guess Walmart really can help you live better. And finally, in 2011, at a Walmart in South Carolina, customers witnessed a man named Avery Blandon end the life of his wife, Lilia Blandon, while she was working inside the store's bank. Avery stabbed her multiple times, and she sadly passed away on the way to the hospital. He then tried to escape the scene, but he crashed his SUV and was caught by police. But what's weird is that the store stayed open during the investigation, only in Walmart.
Did you guys see this video of these two planes that almost crashed into each other in midair? It was all caught by this police officer's dash cam. This all happened last month in Syracuse, New York, when a Delta airplane was cleared to take off, while at the same time an American airline airplane was cleared to land in the same runway. So the Delta airplane was on its way to LaGuardia Airport while the American airline plane was arriving from Washington Reagan Airport. What's crazy is that these two planes were only 725 feet away from each other in the air, but from the ground's point of view, they looked so much closer. At one point, the two planes were side by side, and that should not be happening for obvious reasons, which is why the job of an air traffic controller is so important. And this error was completely on the air traffic controller, who shouldn't have cleared both airplanes at the same time. It's still unclear why and how this happened, but they're still investigating. Thankfully, both planes did not collide, and all 159 passengers are safe.
It's official.
That's insane to think about, man. Like, they were literally like that close. Like, there's like a hair off if something happened, man. Like she said, it was the air trafficker's job. That they need to, whoever was there that day, they had to get their freaking job reviewed or something like that, because they obviously was not paying attention. Flights, man. One of the most scariest things, man, that can happen. Fun fact, I've never been on an airplane before yet. I've never flown yet, so that just raises my anxiety.
Aliens exist. These are the remains of non-human creatures. They were presented to a hearing in Mexico's Congress, which is investigating unidentified anomalous phenomena. The hearing was told that the specimens were found in Peru in 2017 and apparently are 700 and 1800 years old. People online were quick to compare the likeness to that of E.T. from the movie. One user wrote, "No way, they can't be that small. Those are mutated cats." But looking at a picture that was released of their skull, this is no cat, which is eerily similar to a skull they found in 2021. What's worse is experts testified under oath that one of them is seen to have eggs inside it, and both specimens were said to have implants made of very rare metals. And even though the aliens are pretty small, you can tell that this is clearly something different. I ain't gonna lie, this guy looks like he doesn't want to go to work tomorrow. Let's take one last look. Do you believe in aliens?
Morbid Facts, Part 402. George Lopez has a genetic condition that caused his kidneys to slowly deteriorate. So when he needed a new kidney in 2005, his wife Ann gave him one of her own. A couple years later, George reportedly cheated on his wife, then divorced her in 2010, all while wearing her kidney. The first scientist to observe penguins engaging in gay intercourse, grape, and necrophilia was so disturbed that he tried to obscure his findings to prevent people from knowing the truth about penguins. In 1995, a substitute school bus driver in Illinois stopped at a red light with the back part of the bus still on some train tracks. The children were screaming for her to move the bus forward as a train approached, but she was confused about what they meant. The train struck the bus at 60 miles per hour and 7 children were killed. In 2018, Gloria Williams pleaded guilty to posing as a nurse to abduct Kamaya Mobley from her mother's arms in the maternity ward. She was sentenced to 18 years in prison, the same length of time Kamaya was separated from her birth family.
That was not it.
4-year-old Gabby Mann was living in Seattle, Washington with her family. One day, she dropped a chicken nugget onto the ground, and before she could pick it up, a neighborhood crow swooped down and took the free lunch. And because Gabby was a messy eater, she continued to drop food everywhere she went, and so she continued to inadvertently feed these crows. She grew to really enjoy the attention, and so she started feeding them huge portions of her lunch. When Gabby's mother discovered where most of her daughter's food was going, she wasn't upset. She was just worried her daughter wasn't getting enough to eat. They would go out and buy some food just for the crows. She and her mom began feeding the crows every day. Gabby went outside one morning to refill the peanut tray when she noticed there was a small earring. Over the following few weeks, when more and more little trinkets started showing up, Gabby's mom installed a camera. She was amazed to see the crows would come in and they would eat their food, and then they would leave behind these shiny little trinkets. But the crows' most astonishing gift came the following year. Gabby's mother was an avid photographer, and one day she was out by herself photographing a bald eagle. She managed to drop a lens cover to one of her cameras. That night, when she got back to her house, she couldn't believe what was sitting there. She ran back inside and pulled up the footage from the bird camera, and there it was, a crow coming into the yard with the lens cap in its mouth. This behavior is very significant because it means the relationship between the crows and Gabby and her mom was not a transactional one. Today, Gabby and her mother still feed the crows every single day, and the crows still love Gabby and her mother.
Okay,
it's like good karma coming back to
a
you.
pharmaceutical company that's trialing a new groundbreaking age reversal pill had such good results that the local news wanted to run a story on them. But before they even could publish the video, the chairman and CEO died. You see, 6 months ago, this 12-year-old German Shepherd was near death. He had terminal cancer, was operated on, and his prognosis wasn't looking good. The dog's caretaker knew that an age reversal trial was being conducted on dogs, and so she asked if Zeus could be a part of it due to his dire situation. The pill's aim is to lengthen telomere caps on human stem cells, because as part of the aging process, our telomeres shorten, which increases the chance of age-related diseases and, of course, death.
If you can increase telomeres, you can reproduce stem cells and keep repairing things so that you can get literally younger.
They said that in their drug's preclinical data from a previous in vitro human cell study, it showed that the medication lengthened telomeres by almost 200%. Zeus was granted access to the medication in April, and his caretaker said that she saw results almost immediately.
He's doing marvelously. He goes out to our pool and he swims and he has fun and he plays with the tennis ball.
A recent scan showed that the cancer in his body had completely disappeared, and the results were so remarkable that she asked for more to give another 12-year-old dog that could hardly walk due to arthritis. And just last week, she said that he had started galloping and running again. But then, despite all of that, he hit us with this.
And we are sad to report that since this interview was conducted, Dr. Christopher Chapman has recently passed away.
On the company's website, they announced his passing, saying, out of respect and privacy for Dr. Chapman's family, details of the 71-year-old's passing will not be made available. And then added that to support the new chairman and CEO, 3 telomere directors have voluntarily resigned. Human trials for this drug are planned for mid-2025.
The rarest things in the world.
What do you think happened?
Vaquita, only 10 left in the wild. Rarest gem on earth, painite worth $60,000 per carat. Rarest poker hand, the royal flush, 1 in 655,000 chance. Rarest element on earth, astatine, less than 1 gram on earth exists. Rarest car, Ferrari 250, Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo? Didn't they make a movie about that?
Okay, this is getting hard to believe, but there has just been reports of a second wave of explosions in Lebanon, but this time it's people's walkie-talkies. So
Yesterday, Hezbollah fighters pagers. Today, their radios. Initial reports are saying that the most recent wave of explosions have caused cars and houses to be set on fire. And there were even reports, this one's crazy, that one exploded at a funeral of someone who died from yesterday's explosions. And while I'm on the topic of explosions, you're going to see a lot of reports of people saying explosive devices found at Trump rally, even going as far as saying third assassination attempt, question mark. Let me just save you some time. That is a false report. There's going to be a lot of corrections. Don't worry about it. I'll keep you updated.
Imagine being kidnapped, locked in a basement, and then when the police come, they just leave you there to die. Back in the 1980s, many girls in Belgium were just randomly vanishing without a trace. This guy right here, Mark Detroit, was the guy who was doing all of this. Now in his early years, he had a lot of relationship issues and ended up marrying his second wife, Michelle Martin, this woman right here. What these two would do together genuinely will make you feel sick. Major trigger warning, if you're easily scared, please just keep on scrolling right now. This is your final warning. On June the 7th, 1985, they took their first victim, who was an 11-year-old girl walking home from school, which they kidnapped. They took her back to their place, armed her, and then took a photo of her after this before just releasing her. Now they did this tons of times before actually being caught by the police the first time, but then it got far worse. So they were both arrested but got a very, very short sentence and were out in no time. Mark was released in 1992 after serving literally 3 years in prison for all of this. Of course, the reason they were caught the first time was because the victims they let go free had reported them, so they built this literal dungeon in the basement of the house where they would keep people. He went on to kidnap at least 6 people in the space of a couple of years and left them all in here. At this time, the news was going crazy in the local area because tons of girls were going missing. No one knew where they were, but they were all in here. Now, even crazier again, Mark's own mother actually reported him to the police and they still didn't go round. And she even told the police that he literally had girls captive in the basement right now and the police did nothing. Not long after this, though, Mark was actually arrested for something completely separate, stealing a car. And he told his wife she would have to keep the girls in the basement alive by watering them and feeding them. Yeah. Now, by far, the most angering part of this whole story is that the police finally went round and did a check on the house. He literally heard children screaming and begging for help, and they walked out. They did nothing. Because apparently it sounded like the screams were coming from outside, and just kids playing a prank or something. Like, what? There was even undeveloped camera film on the side here, which they just didn't develop, but if they did, they would have seen literally everything. Now, apparently, this woman was too scared to go into the basement and look after the girls, so tragically passed away. When he finally got out, he started again, and more girls started vanishing, until eventually someone came forward after spotting him in a van, basically while in the act. He then confessed, showed the police the whole basement and everything, and even showed them where some bodies of people were. He also reportedly had another accomplice, but they had a disagreement, and he unalived him and buried him in the house as well. After the whole case came to a close, she got 30 years in jail, and he got...
You to a random man for $15,000 and then you end up dead 6 weeks later. Well, that's what happened to this young girl. Rukia Hadari was only 21 years old when her throat was slit by her new husband after she refused to clean and cook for him. Her mother ended up going to prison for a short amount of time because she was the one that forced them to get married, but she still says that she did nothing wrong, and if she knew that her husband was going to kill her, then she would have never forced the marriage. And this wasn't the first time that Rukia was forced into marriage. When she was 15, she was also married off to a man, and they got a divorce 2 years later. What's so sad is that this young woman just wanted to live a normal life. She wanted to go to school, get her degree, and become a nurse, but her mother had other plans. If you guys want to learn all the details about the story, make sure to head over to my YouTube channel. I uploaded the full story there.
It's just a sad case, man.
So you don't have to run too close to the sun, my boy. Here are some signs an antler warrior's about to put you under, and may God help you if you ever need any of this. This right here is where you been should have hit the double dash. If a moose shows you the whites of his eye, actually, if you could see the whites of his eyes, you're entirely too close to death. But yeah, anytime a moose shows you the whites of his eyes, he's telling you to fall back, or the next white you finna see is a cul-de-sac in the clouds. It's a lot like the whale eye things dogs do before they snap. Either way, you see this, you adjust accordingly. It's probably common knowledge, but if a moose dips his head and shows you his antlers, he's basically telling you, yo, I got it on me, you better have it in you if you don't give folk. I'm not saying pause, because pausing in this situation could actually get you smoked twice like 2 packs. Now that's no diddy. If a moose is ever eating and suddenly stops and stares in your direction, yeah, you got his attention. Please give it back. Also, you don't want to be like this guy and get loud with a moose, especially a bull. This ain't a bear, remember. With predators, you gotta convince them you're worth the effort. But with a grass-fueled war machine, getting loud is giving them a reason to kick your knees in. And I was gonna say don't press a mother moose in her cat, but honestly, the earth is crowded. If you want to naturally select yourself as tribute to Darwin, that's a way to do it. Just know Mama Moose might play hopscotch on your spine. If a moose stares at you and urinates, you're in a lot of trouble. No, seriously, you're gonna be a hashtag. If a moose smacks his lips at you, if a moose throws his head back like a horse, if a moose breathes, matter of fact, if a moose mooses, don't question, don't ask it, leave on your feet or leave in a casket. Nah, but for real, if the ears are pinned back, that's like the universal red flag of finding out. Oh, and last thing, if a moose stares at you and there's a body of water between y'all and you think you're safe, survey says the Messiah laughs at your assumptions, the more you know.
Whatever you see.
Damn, man, don't mess with mooses, bro. They have Black Air Force energy, man, in the animal kingdom.
First reveals who you are. Up first is this picture. If you saw the trees and the reflection of them in the pond, it means you constantly overthink your life and stress about your future. But you're also very motivated and want to be successful. But if you saw the woman walking out of the pond first, it means that you sometimes feel lonely and trapped in your own life. But you're also a very thoughtful person and tend to put people above yourself. Next up is this picture. If you saw the woman releasing the balloons, this means you know a lot of people, but only a couple are considered friends. This makes you feel extremely lonely and never want to do anything. But if you saw the blue sky and the clouds first, it means that sky blue is one of your favorite colors. And no matter how hard life gets, you always find a way to come out on top.
This is the scary story about a bath. Elizabeth was sitting at her desk in her room. She was finishing off her homework when she suddenly got a text off a number she didn't recognise. The text message said, "Take a bath and go to bed, it's a school night, Mom." Elizabeth thought her mom's phone died and used someone else's phone to text her. She already planned on taking a bath, so she got undressed and grabbed a towel and walked into the bathroom. But then she stopped. She was surprised that the bath was already filled. "I guess my mom filled it in advance," she said. She then shrugged her shoulders and got in. When she got in the bathtub, she became aware of a burning sensation all over her body, which progressively got worse and worse the longer she stayed in the bath, to the point where she started crying. Then she got out. Like and follow for part 2.
Beware about the bath. Chicken, okay. It's like they de-evolutionized, bro. What the hell? Ooh, imagine seeing a snake that big. They call it a Titanosaur, right? That's added. You can spot them easy now, man. I just feel like we're at expert level.
Horror movie villains based on real people.
Hey man, we've learned, I'm about to say, well, especially me, I've learned, man, that these stories and stuff that we've been watching has always based on a true story. It doesn't matter if it's animated, live action. There's a true story out there somewhere where it truly originates from, man. So keep that in mind when you're watching these movies and shows.
Terrifying signs that you won't believe actually exist. Part 3. Sharks sighted today. Enter water at own risk. Dangerous sinkhole, unstable ground. If you're reading this, you are too close. Leave this area immediately. Stop. Prevent your death. Go no further. There's nothing in this cave worth dying for. Do not go beyond this point. Warning. If warning siren sounds, immediately leave the area. Go uphill 200 steps. Danger. People have been seriously hurt or killed in this area. Extreme caution should be observed at all times. Watch for snakes. They're watching you. Dismount now. Do not ride over the next rock. 200-foot cliff. Riders have died here. Riders just like you.
Those signs are pretty self-explanatory. Stay away.
However bad you thought the damage was from Hurricane Helene, it's probably worse. At least 64 people have tragically passed away, thousands have been left homeless, about 3.5 million have been left without power, with people in Georgia only expected to get it back on the 5th of October. Oh, and insurance companies are cooked, because the Financial Times report that property damage alone is up to 26 billion. Eerie, end of days looking footage shows boats lining the streets, while cars lined the beaches. Bridges have collapsed, docks were destroyed, dams were at their breaking point, there were massive landslides, Stone Cold Steve Austin couldn't even drink his beer. And in Asheville, North Carolina, experts called it a 1 in 1,000 year event. Their French Broad River hasn't been this full since 1916, over 100 years ago. Oh, and it's not just the water you have to worry about, because the batteries in electric vehicles being submerged in salt water are releasing hydrogen gas and heat, which is resulting in fires. Helene is now turned into a post-tropical cyclone and is expected to continue to cause intense flooding through to Sunday.
This is why you shouldn't explore abandoned places. An urban exploration YouTube channel by the name Urbex Hill went to explore the 13-year-old abandoned Robert Fulton School in Cleveland, Ohio. Immediately as he enters the decaying school, he doesn't notice, but what looks like a person can be seen watching him from the end of the hallway. But knowing someone could be stalking him, he continues exploring. But it wasn't until Urbex Hill goes up to the 3rd floor and finds a 40-down room that he would come face to face with this stalker. I think somebody's in there. What the fuck?
He's chasing him down.
Somebody's been living here.
I'm out.
Don't ever try this. To summon a guardian angel who will grant your deepest wishes, first draw the symbol in your hand. Now draw a line and a loop around your wrist like handcuffs. Now make your hand into a fist and dip it in a bowl of water. Now take out your hand and place it over your eyes. Now move your hand and open your eyes, and your guardian angel will appear before you to grant you any wish. But be careful, as some can't handle what they see when they open their eyes. Are you brave enough to try this? Then heart this video and follow my account.
I never tried those freaking minigame seekers because I don't want that type of energy in my life nowhere near me, so no, I will not be playing those minigames. I don't need that around me at all.
This teenager killed his mom over a bad grade. This is 15-year-old Gregory Ramos. And on November 2nd, 2018, Gregory Ramos got into a fight with his mother, Gail Clevenger. The fight started over his bad school grades, which resulted in him strangling his own mother to death. Gregory then proceeded to call 2 of his friends to help him bury her body and stage a robbery at his house. Gregory buried her body under a church fire pit and was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Now, what I'm about to show you is Gregory explaining exactly how he committed the murder, and it's absolutely disturbing, because keep in mind, this was his own mother.
Whatever. Alright, I'll tell you what happened. Alright, so I got home, I got in an argument with my mom, she slapped me across the face, she began to hit me, she started beating me, I didn't like it, so I strangled her to death. Alright? I put her in a wheelbarrow, I put her in my car, I took the car, I had a mental breakdown where I almost committed suicide 3 times, I drove around Daytona, I dropped the wheelbarrow in some random ass location, then I drove back to the church, I began to dig a hole. I dig a hole right under the fucking fire pit. I dug a pretty deep hole, pretty deep, deep enough to put a bit of body in, alright? All this time my mom was decomposing body, I dragged it from my car to the fire pit. In which case, I tried to cut the wedding ring off her finger because I wanted to pawn it, but I couldn't because I didn't have a knife strong enough to cut bones. Oh well, whatever. Anyways, so I dug that hole, threw her body in there, filled back in, made it look all nice and natural, dumped my clothes, and then I went home.
Yo, what's up?
It was so calm saying that story, chilling.
Probably didn't want to know. Part 21. Scientists claims that the research they have done shows that 1% of society meets the criteria to be a psychopath. That means 1 in every 100 people you meet will be a psychopath. It was said a long time ago that boiled toads would help cure rheumatism, which is arthritis, and that feeding rotted mice to children would help with their bedwetting problems. Have I wet my bed before?
Moving on. Oh yeah, this is just a fact to remind you that there is a brain-eating amoeba out there that if you get water through your nose or in your ears, that it could possibly, eat your brain. At an abandoned wildlife park in Australia, there is a fully preserved shark found still in the tank filled with murky waters. Oh my gosh.
Whoa, really? That seems incredible, man. To be preserved that long? That's nature for you.
Disturbing facts you wish you never knew. You have tiny skin mites that come out at night and do the thing on your face. A 10-second kiss on the lips can pass on 80 million bacteria, some unknown to scientists. Good thing you don't have to worry about that. Certain kinds of tumor called teratoma can cause your body to grow teeth and hair around it. When Eskimo babies have colds, their mother sucks the snot out of their nose with their mouth. Yummy. People who stay up at night are more likely to become psychopaths compared to those who sleep early. So please go to sleep now.
Bro, that thing about the Eskimo, what they said, they suck the snot out of their mouth. People have different cultures, but with their mouth? Ugh. I don't really. My mom would never do that, bro. We don't do that over here. A new fact we learned today.
What's up? These are scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 24. This one's pretty strange, but there is a very rare disease known as dactylolysis spontanea, where a person's toe randomly falls off for no apparent reasons. In fact, doctors can't even explain why this happens. The picture above shows a suit known as a Siberian bear hunting suit, in which people or hunters can go looking for bears, and if the bear tries to attack or claw them, they will be protected by the spikes on their suit, and it will stab the bear. The picture above shows the head of a decapitated nun known as Maria Rosenthal, who was the first ever nun to be possessed. In fact, they kept this head pretty well preserved. There was actually a life-size Jason Voorhees statue found in the bottom of Minnesota Lake, and knowing the year 2020 like we do, I wouldn't be surprised if this statue came to life.
Don't put a Jason statue in the middle of the ocean.
While waiting for an ice cream truck. This is 11-year-old Mikuel Biggs, and she was from Mesa, Arizona. She was described as very bright and considered a gifted student. Mikuel was well educated on the concept of stranger danger and wasn't someone to be easily tricked. On January 2nd of 1999, around 5:30 p.m., Mikuel thought she heard an ice cream truck nearby, so she begged her mom for some money. Mikuel and her younger sister Kimber ran outside holding their two quarters. Kimber brought the family dog with them, and Mikuel had jumped onto Kimber's brand new pink and purple bicycle. As they made their way to the corner of the street, they were joined by other children from the neighborhood who also thought they heard the music from the ice cream truck. After a few minutes, some of the kids started to get restless since there was no sign of the ice cream truck. Around 5:50 p.m., Kimber told Mikuel she didn't want to wait any longer. It was getting dark and the temperature was now 60 degrees. Mikuel was determined to get that popsicle, so while her sister went back to the home, she stayed out there. Their mother noticed that Kimber came by herself, so she demanded that she went out there to go get her sister. Kimber grabbed her jacket, and as she was walking towards the corner that they were at, she was gone for maybe 90 seconds. Mikuel was gone. Kimber noticed that her brand new bike was on the ground with the wheels still spinning, so it made it seem that Mikuel had been riding it and just jumped off. She also noticed that Mikuel's two quarters were on the ground near the bike. At this point, Kimber was frightened, so she ran back home and told her mom that she could not find Mikuel. Around 6:15, their mother called 911 and reported Mikuel as missing. Police responded almost immediately, and from the start, they realized that they were most likely dealing with an abduction. It appeared that Mikuel was riding her bike back home when she was snatched off of it. Police and volunteers conducted a search around the area until 2 a.m. Unfortunately, they were only able to track her scent around the bicycle, so they came up with the idea that most likely she was abducted in a vehicle. Investigators contacted every ice cream truck in the area to see if they were in Mikuel's neighborhood, and none of them were. Police continued to search the area. They searched garbage cans, dumpsters, sheds, and they could not find Mikuel anywhere. Mikuel's case is still considered active and unsolved. Her parents are still hoping to learn what had happened to her so they can bring her home and give her a proper burial.
Pilot's last words before crash. Flight 302 to 019. Pitch up, pitch up.
Pitch up. It's like bring a
Flight 507-207. Go up. Flight 409-201. Oh. We're finished. God have mercy on us.
It was praying.
Flight 447-209. But what's happening? Flight 2605-1979. Oh, Jesus Christ, get it up, Charlie. Flight 177-11987. I'm the problem.
I'm the problem. What does he mean by that? We actually learned during these watching these videos together with you guys. There's actually a website where they recorded the last, I guess, yeah, like audios of planes and stuff that
Here
goes
are my most
down.
anticipated horror movies releasing in October. Up first is Terrifier 3, releasing October 11th. It was shown last week at Fantastic Fest, and everybody that I know that has seen the movie said it was absolutely insane. And this movie takes Art the Clown from a normal slasher all the way up to that top peak list of horror movie icons. I was also told that the first 5 minutes absolutely topped the bedroom scene from Terrifier 2, which genuinely has me excited. You then have Smile 2, releasing October 18th. I was a big fan of the first one, didn't really care for the ending, but I think this one could be great, because of the fact that it's based on a musical icon who's on tour when all of a sudden this smile curse starts coming around everywhere. She's more or less spreading it to her fans. I think that the premise is really cool. I just hope they do it right. Up next is The Platform 2. If you haven't seen the first Platform, you're definitely missing out. It's more or less about a prison system that moves. Some people start at the top, others start at the bottom, others in the middle. Every single day it changes. And depending on what level you're on, depends on when you eat. If you're all the way at the top, of course you get first dibs. But if you're at the bottom, there's probably going to be no food left for you. People go from platform to platform, people get unalived all the time, and I think number 2 might even be able to top number 1. And finally, you have Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare, from the same creators that made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. And this movie's based on the dark theory behind Peter Pan, where he is not the good guy. He's more or less unaliving these people before they become adults, to keep them kids forever. Supposedly, Captain Hook is supposed to be the main antagonist, or he's the good guy, which is supposed to be the original story of Peter Pan, at least based on that dark theory. Comment down below what movies you guys are excited for this month, and follow for more.
This is one of the most haunted places in the United Kingdom, Pendle Hill. In the 1600s, a group of women who were living in this area were accused of being witches. And after an extremely unfair trial and being held in a dungeon for months, they were executed. The story of the Pendle witches is infamous, and it actually predates the Salem witch trials. But Pendle Hill is like a paranormal magnet of its own. People have seen everything out here, from demon dogs to shapeshifters, and even aliens and UFOs in the sky. It's rumored that Pendle Hill is one of the most dangerous places to visit after dark due to the high levels of paranormal activity. One specific story from the area that's pretty creepy is that of a headless ghost. Yes, the spirit of a headless woman is seen walking one of these roads at night, and the story goes that she was a local nanny, and multiple children in her care died, so the locals took it upon themselves to take care of the problem and chopped her head off. The story of the Pendle witches is infamous worldwide, and their presence can still be felt today. The full video of our investigation is on my channel now.
Top 5 of the scariest videos I found online. I bet you can't make it to the end of the video. The last one is scary.
Bet I can.
Number 5. 3 friends were playing guitar and singing in their room. You know, just having a good time. When something scary appears in the balcony door window. You can see a white figure appear quickly and disappear once the camera pans back. Spicy. Hey, maybe you just like the music. Want to do a little dance. Get a little boogie. Get it? Boogie, boo. Please don't unfollow me. Before we get to the next one, can you hit that like button for me? If you get 100,000 hearts, I'll do a part 3. Number 4. A man wakes up to hearing strange noises in his house. When he goes to turn on the lights to see what it is, they seem to not be working. Watch what he sees next.
Okay.
Tired of these ghosts messing with electricity when they do not pay bills. Do you know how much an electric bill is right now? Pay up or get out. Okay, check this out. You're alone in the middle of the night, and you're in a hotel when this happens.
That looks like an edit. guess I can edit. Not a good one either.
What's your next move? Let me know down below. Number 3. On the 30th of April, 2022 at 2 a.m., a security camera captured this. Some believe it's a creature dragging a bag, while others believe it's someone walking backwards. A short while after, the security camera catches this. It's the same figure. What do you think this creature is? Number 2. The little girl is in the kitchen alone, and it looks like she's talking to someone. The home security camera captures this.
Someone wrestled it away from her?
So now they're not paying bills and trying to take our food? This is the last straw. Hello, Ghostbusters. A woman and her child is seeing something in the window, but every time she goes to open it, nothing appears to be there. Watch what happens next. Yeah, it got in the house, and they didn't even realize. Should I do a part 3?
Lacey Fletcher, the woman who melted into her couch. Well, the people responsible for this have been sentenced. But let me remind you guys a little bit about 36-year-old Lacey. In 2022, she was found deceased on her family's couch, and apparently she sat there for 12 years without moving. So how exactly does that happen? Well, Lacey had severe autism and she was nonverbal, so she solely depended on her parents as her caregiver. But after years of neglect, she weighed less than 100 pounds. She was found covered in maggots at her own waist. And again, this is how the couch looked like when they found Lacey deceased. Lacey's cause of death was acute medical neglect, and ultimately her parents, Sheila and Clay Fletcher, were each sentenced this month to 40 years, but will only be serving 20 years in prison. Now, what's outrageous is that her parents, who went from this to this, testified that their daughter refused any medical attention. How can someone who couldn't communicate and completely relied on them refuse medical attention? A 36-year-old weighing less than 100 pounds. Let that sink in. This tragedy could have been prevented. There is no excuse.
Gross habits that are
case,
actually
man.
good for you. It's healthy for your stomach to burp after a meal because it means it's getting rid of excess air. When you bite your nails, you're actually consuming some of the bacteria under your fingernail. As a result, your immune system begins producing white blood cells, which fights against bacteria. Children who bite their nails or suck on their thumb are less likely to develop allergies, according to research. Before the last one, I just found this super addicting game that you'll never want to get rid of. You build your own kingdom and destroy others, and you can get it right here. Showering strips your skin of its essential oils, which is necessary to keep it hydrated and protected. So it's okay to go without showering for a day or two.
See, guys, tell me if y'all. I know y'all been seeing it in the freaking in the social media spheres, bro. Like, there's been a lot of freaking celebrities talking about how they really don't be shown at all, or like they only do it like, I guess so, like once a week or something like that. Please tell me y'all don't follow that, bro. Don't be funky, secrets.
Secret rooms hidden in famous locations. In the Statue of Liberty, there's a small room hidden inside the torch, but no one can enter inside because it was damaged by the Germans in 1916. And although it was repaired, they still don't allow anyone inside just as a safety precaution. Mount Rushmore is famous for the 4 sculpted faces of the previous American presidents. But behind them is a secret vault, and inside is the secret Krabby Patty formula. Just kidding, they keep historical documents back there, like the Declaration of Independence, and the biography of the sculpture, and the history of construction, but no one can access them. Inside Big Ben, there's a secret room by the bell tower. Although it's no longer in use, it used to be a prison for people who breached the code of conduct, and I have no idea what that means. But before I show you the coolest one, I just found this game that you'll never want to get rid of. Build your own fortress and attack other people, and you can get it right here. The Tower of London is one of the most famous fortresses in the world. Underneath it is a pub that you can only get invited to by one of the other members.
What is the dumbest reason you can think of somebody committing a crime? I'm about to one-up your thought right now.
This man from Pennsylvania behind me named Benjamin Gowell killed his girlfriend because he didn't like her haircut. And just because he didn't like her haircut, he stabbed her to death. This happened on Sunday, November 3rd at 1 p.m. in East Hempfield, Pennsylvania. Police were called, the EMTs transported 2 people out, and 1 person was pronounced dead at the scene, so there was 3 people involved here. The victim was Carmen Martinez Silva. Her brother was also present there. I'm assuming he tried to fight the suspect, her boyfriend, off. Her brother would get stabbed in the skull, and Carmen would be pronounced dead at the scene. They found Benjamin Gowell's kitchen knife in his car. Apparently Carmen was a little fearful of Gowell, so she went over to her daughter's place. Her daughter gave her a haircut, and that just infuriated him for some reason. She was scared to go back, so she went to her brother's place. That's when she informed him she would like to end the relationship because he was being crazy. He knocked on the brother's door. The brother told him she is not here. He came back a few minutes later with a knife, stabbed him, broke through their house, and then stabbed her multiple times. This is all over a haircut. A haircut's the thing that apparently sent this guy over the edge. Now he has 3 counts of aggravated assault, a homicide count, an attempted homicide count, and a bunch of reckless endangering counts. Obviously, with his girlfriend dying now, he will probably be getting life in prison. That's a first-degree murder right there.
Over a damn haircut, really? That has to be one of the most dumbest crimes we've heard yet. People, man, be doing the most stupidest things for no reason. Life in prison for a haircut.
You have to hear this. An Uber driver claims that he actually picked up a group of ghosts. A man in Savannah, Georgia, a town that is well known for its paranormal activity, says that he used to work for a car service. One night, the man whose name is William was sent to pick up 3 ladies from Foley House, a historic bed and breakfast in the heart of the city. When he got there, he saw 3 women dressed up in what he described as Southern Belle outfits. He said that he picked them up and they got in the cab. They were going to Elizabeth on 37th Street. He said that they were all chatting and laughing in the back seat, and he was having a good time just cruising. Williams said that when he got to the destination, he turned around and said, "Ma'am, your fare is going to be such and such." But shockingly, there was nobody else in the cab. He called his boss to tell him the unexplainable story, but before he could begin, his boss grew angry, asking him if he had picked up the 3 ladies from the Foley House. He said that he did, but there was nobody in the cab. To this day, William believes that he picked up 3 ghosts instead of the paying customers that had requested the ride.
Islands on Earth that if you
Ghost
go to,
Uber?
you will die. Up first is North Sentinel Island. It is home to the Sentinelese tribe. Those who go never make it out alive. Next is Spider Island. It's home to most of the biggest and deadliest spiders in the world. And trust me, these can definitely kill you. Next is Monkey Island. You've probably never heard of this, but this is a remote island in Puerto Rico, and it's home to some of the deadliest monkeys in the world. All the monkeys on this island carry one of the most lethal infections in the world. Finally, and this is probably the worst one, Reunion Island. The surrounding waters are completely overrun by sharks, and the population keeps increasing rapidly. In total, there have been 50 shark attacks at this island.
And people still go there? Monkey Island, Spider Island, Shark Island. It's like, pick your poison. Which one do you want to go? Which one you want to go to? If you had to choose out of all those 3, what would you pick, man? What you think you could survive on? I want to know.
Creepy relics of early 2000s Craigslist are completely unmatched. So back in the early 2000s, Craigslist was just this safe haven for some of the darkest fringes of society. It's the only way I can describe it. And just first off, we all know what a septic tank is, correct? They're very common, they have to be pumped, a lot of homes have them. So let's discuss the Alabama man who would pay you to go into yours. So his official ad says, "Some might judge me for this, but it's what I enjoy. I will pay you $150 an hour to bring my equipment in and gain access to your septic tank. I then have my associate close the tank. After I set up my tripod and camera up, believe it or not, it's a great place to reflect." And very unsurprisingly, not long after, a lot of videos leaked on LiveLeak of what was known as Septic Tank Man. And absolutely, the videos are shocking, but I think the more shocking part is how long ago this was and that nobody has ever identified who this man really was in Alabama.
The absolute scariest moments captured on camera. This eye-wrenching footage recorded on the 12th of January 2021 shows a group of people in a boat when a massive iceberg collapses. When the iceberg collapsed, it made a terrifying wave that was over 30 feet high.
Damn.
The group of people in the boat try to get away as fast as they can as this monstrous wave follows them. Thankfully, they get away safely just in time. That wave could have easily wiped them out.
They could have. Yeah, they hit the jets on that boat, bro. Full drive. Man, pictures, like I said, they tell a story. You never know, man. At the right moment, it could be your last moment, bro.
Kids with Real Superpowers Part 1. This kid, whose name is this one, I don't know how to pronounce it, and he's called the Cat Boy because he can see in the dark. As you can see, he has very bright blue eyes, and when he was seen by the doctors and asked many questions, they ended up in the conclusion that he can see in the dark. But there are a lot of people who claim that this is fake. Do you believe it's true or not?
When they entered the apartment, what they found was disturbing. The first thing that they saw was a skinny 4-year-old Benji with 2 big black eyes. But not just that, Benji had bruises all over his body. He also had an injury in his ear, and because of that, he had a gauze just like sticking out of his ear. The officer said that he was very skinny and did not look like a normal 4-year-old. When they asked why did Benji have all these injuries, Miranda and Brandon said that he had behavioral issues and that he would do this to himself. They said that he had a habit of constantly poking his eyes and ears, and that's why it caused those injuries. Then officers decided to bring Benji alone into the bathroom, and they asked him again, what happened to you? Benji said the same thing his parents said and told the officers that he did it to himself and that he poked at his eyes and ears. But when you watch the video, it doesn't sound genuine, and it kind of sounds like Benji was rehearsed and told to say that. They had locks on their fridge, on their kitchen cabinets, and everywhere where there was food. They also noticed a lot of cameras set up in the apartment, especially in the kitchen. From their point of view, it just looked a little bit odd. Why are there so many locks and why is there cameras everywhere? Now, they retrieved all these cameras and began looking at all the footage, and I was not prepared to see what I saw. I think this was one of the saddest videos I've seen in a while. Watching how this boy would sneak out of his room in the middle of the night to look for food, it literally broke my heart. It was said that before Miranda moved into the home, Benji was able to just go in and out of the cabinets and fridge and get whatever he wanted. But then these locks were added and it became more difficult for Benji to get food.
These identical twin sisters were pure evil. In 1952, in the quiet town of Eldridge, there were 2 identical twin sisters, Emily and Evelyn. On the surface, they appeared to be normal, sweet girls, but beneath that, they hid a sinister nature. A new girl named Clara moved into town, quickly gaining popularity, which angered the twins. The attention shifted away from them, and they grew envious. One evening, they invited Clara to a secret gathering in the woods, promising her a magical experience. The next morning, Clara was nowhere to be found. The town buzzed with rumors, but no one had proof of what happened. Weeks later, the twins' mother, Lorraine, overheard a disturbing conversation while passing by their room. She pressed her ear to the door and heard the chilling words, "We need another one." Clara wasn't enough. Horrified, Lorraine burst into the room, but it was empty. On the twins' beds, she found 2 dolls, identical to her daughters, and a 3rd doll with Clara's face. The twins were never seen again. Some say they still wander the forests, waiting to claim their next victim.
What do you guys think? Is that like a creepy folklore story? Because there'd be some realism to that. I think that's a folklore to me. I think that we heard a folklore story right there. But
These are the scariest serial killers from each state, part 1. Up first is Nanny Doss from Alabama, also known as the Giggling Granny. She married 5 times and murdered 4 of her husbands, and the only one that survived was her first husband. She also poisoned 11 of her family members. Her first 2 victims were her children, who allegedly died from food poisoning. She got the nickname the Giggling Granny because she would always laugh at the crimes she committed. She killed 11 people and is definitely the scariest serial killer from Alabama.
You telling me it's her own daughters?
As of right now, this is definitely in my top 10, absolutely top 5. It is easily one of the most uniquely effective horror movies. This movie is about a woman named Ella who is a stop-motion animator working with her mother. And when the mother becomes hospitalized, it is up to Ella to finish her mother's vision, which Ella doesn't really want to do. And with the help of this random little girl from down the hallway, Ella tries to create a film like no other. However, when the world of reality and the world of stop motion start to really bleed together, it's going to make you wonder for the entire runtime of the movie, what is real? Now, in my opinion, I absolutely loved this movie. I don't know if the director is a genius or accidentally one, because everything in this movie just somehow works, and it works without answering all of your questions. It is a very dreamlike and ethereal type movie, so from the start, you're kind of questioning about everything, which some people are going to love and some people are really not going to like. And it goes without saying, the stop motion animation in this is perfectly creepy. If you've seen any of the previous works of the director, take the weirdness and tone of that and put it into a movie. Now, as far as like what type of scares to be prepared for in this movie, it's a good mix of a lot of different things. A handful of jump scares here and there, but what is really effective is when the purpose of the movie is just to solely creep you out. But a warning to the squeamish, there are a couple of body horror scenes that can be kind of rough. They're extraordinarily well done. Just keep that in mind towards the end. Now, stop motion has a very limited run in theaters. Hopefully there's more showings in the future. But the good news is stop motion will be streaming on Shudder on May 31st. If you've seen this movie, what do you guys think?
What if I told you the mother behind me was feeding her sons to cannibals? Behind me is Klara Maurova. She's from the Czech Republic and she had 2 sons, Jacob and Andrej. Her and her sister were part of this weird cult called the Grail Movement. They believed by doing good deeds that they would go to heaven. Now here's where it gets dangerous. This cult also believed that they were free to commit any crimes they wanted to and nothing would affect them. And they were also cannibals. Things now got even stranger when her sister showed up with an adopted Norwegian child named Annika. She was 13 years old. Some people believe she was actually 30 and posing as a child. She was in a trafficking ring and had a lot of sympathy for her. Soon, Klara started to forget about her sons and started thinking about adopting Annika as her own. That's when this weird doctor started emailing and texting her out of nowhere. He claimed to be Annika's physician. She met up with him, he showed her her medical records, he gained her trust. The doctor said to Klara that you cannot adopt Annika because her sons are so mean to her. This was the doctor's plan all along as a cult leader. You guys remember that cult I was talking about at the beginning of the video? The doctor is like the head of this cult. He said to fix this, she needs to beat her boys as much as she can, for every little thing, and she fell for it. This was to cure their evil spirits. The doctor said these treatments are not working now. You need to take them to a cottage very far off from everyone else. She met up there. There were several people there, including her sister and Annika's brother. The boys were put in cages and tortured in every single way you could think possible. People there started to skin the boys and eat their flesh. They also made the boys eat their own flesh as well. And Annika, the 13-year-old, she kept saying the boys were still being mean to her to continue this abusive cycle. She was also part of that cult and she was not 13. The whole cottage shock therapy ended and they went back home. The boys were treated the exact same back home though by their mother Klara. They were put in a cellar and locked up in there. Annika was living life in a room with a ton of toys and got everything she wanted. She was basically manipulating Klara this entire time. Now here's the way that she got caught and it is crazy. Her neighbor was setting up a baby monitor for his newborn baby. Now, back in like the early 2000s, if you had a baby monitor nearby, it could pick up that signal and you could see what's in there. It could jam a little bit. He managed to see these boys tied up in cages in her basement. Could you imagine the horrifying look he had on his face seeing this? And he did what every good person would do. He called the police immediately to get them some help. The police came, everybody was arrested. Klara, her sister, and Annika. And it turns out Annika was a 33-year-old woman. Her real name was Barbara Sklorova. This is a picture of Barbara Sklorova right here, aka Annika, and she was the basis for the movie Orphan. In case the story is sounding familiar, it's basically Orphan. The doctor was actually the father of that girl Annika, aka Barbara. And Klara's sister was in on this cult the entire time and manipulated her. They all got about 5 to 10 years in prison. This story definitely had the wildest turn of events I've read about.
5 to 10 years after all that? I never even knew Orphan was based off that. I've seen that picture before. That's how I saw the simulators. I'm like, there's always freaking truth behind those stories, man. In media, what we're seeing now.
This is how you would survive if you were in a zombie apocalypse. It's Saturday, you're in your room watching Netflix, but alone though because you're single forever. All of a sudden you get an emergency alert on your phone. A zombie apocalypse is real and has just begun. The news report states that global warming melted a glacier that had ancient viruses in it. Those viruses spread like wildfire, giving humans erotic and aggressive behavior. The virus spreads by saliva, so it causes its host to bite uninfected humans, similar to rabies. To survive, the virus feeds on your flesh, slowly deteriorating anybody it infects. 1 minute into the zombie apocalypse, you start to panic, still processing what's going on, what you just saw. You call and check on all your family members, but you don't go to their homes because anybody can be infected and you're afraid. 3 minutes in, you calm yourself down, lock your doors and windows, and think about running to the gun store for protection and the supermarket to get food and supply. But you decide not to, because remember, where there are people, there are zombies. 20 minutes in, you realize you can't do this alone. You won't survive without a good crew. After all, teamwork makes the dream work. You call your loyal friends, families, anyone you know that can join your crew. 46 minutes in, you start thinking strategically. You wear all your leather clothes so that if a zombie tries to bite you, it's harder for him to get through. You leave your car because eventually it'll run out. It'll need gas. So you grab your bike instead. Plus a car makes too much noise anyway. 3 hours later, you and your crew are finally all together. You're safer this way. The first plan of action is to get out of the city. It's crowded with people who can potentially be zombies. So you need to go to a more secluded area. You and the crew decide to go north, where the temperature is much more colder and can potentially make the zombies move a little slower. 2 days in, on your way out of the city, zombies attack. One of your crew members gets bitten. They tell you to take them out before they turn into a monster. You don't want to, but sadly you honor your friend's wishes and continue on. 3 days in, you guys are now living in a cabin you found in the woods. You don't have much supplies, so you and 2 of your crew members volunteer to go get some. All you have is a knife for protection. You guys find a local store 30 minutes away and grab everything you need. All of a sudden, zombies come running in. One jumps on your back before you can even react and tries biting you, but the leather jacket you have on protects you. Thank God he couldn't get through. You use the knife you have and take him out. You and your crew hop on the bikes to get away, but sadly one of your members get devoured. 5 days in, you can't stay in this cabin hideout anymore. It's surrounded by zombies. More and more zombies are starting to appear in the area. You and the crew decide that it's actually time to pack up and head out. You need better protection, so y'all find a local abandoned building. It's made of bricks, so this should be a little more safer. You block off all the entrances you can find. You need to recharge, so you all rest while switching shifts, being the lookout. 10 days in. It's only been 10 days, but it feels like forever. You manage to get more supplies more wisely this time. These supplies will keep you alive for days. You get non-perishables, like rice, canned food, beans,
Stack up.
oatmeal. 1 month in. The area is swarming with zombies. You can't stay in this building any longer. You and the crew head to the docks to find a boat to travel in. It'll be safer this way because zombies can't swim. Finally, you guys find one and can sail to a new location. You guys jump off the boat to go find food. You have hunting and fishing gear. While hunting, all of a sudden you hear a loud whoop. It's a bear. Not only a bear though, it's a zombie bear. The virus is now spreading to animals. You and the crew make a run for it, back to the boat. 4 months in, you got no more food and the crew is starving. It's only 3 of you left and you're stuck on the boat. The engine will no longer start. It's out of gas. Zombie animals and people are surrounding the area. You pray, and you guys listen to the radio to figure out if there's any good news or any updates. Everything just seems hopeless. 4 months and 8 days in. This is it. You've lost hope. You and your friends are done for. There's only 3 of you. But you want to live. You don't want to die, but you're starving. You have no other choice but to eat your friends. 1 year in. You finally stay in a fort you built, but zombies are surrounding it. Luckily, you were smart enough to build traps all around. You sneak through an underground tunnel which leads to the backyard where you can escape. Just in time before they got in your fort. 1.5 years in. You're on the radio and you discover there's a colony that survived. They're looking for other survivors. You send an SOS immediately. It won't be long before you are noticed and possibly eaten by zombies. You are on your last leg. No food, no water, no shelter. You barely have strength to walk. You start to lose all hope. All of this was for nothing. But then you hear a helicopter up above. It's the survival colony you sent the SOS to. They rescue you and you survive. But is this finally the end or just the beginning?
Could you guys have survived all that, man? Zombie apocalypse. There's no guy for that, man. Whew. I think I will go to the freaking gun store and just get protection. Just move on from there. Hey, that's my thoughts. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, make sure you guys like this video, comment down below, follow me on my social medias. You guys, gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.